Hello, Julie. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Great. I'm really happy to have Miss Juliette Louis today with us. She's Miss Hong Kong. She's playing volleyball. She's talent coach. So I'm really happy to have you.
I'm super excited to launch this series with you because it's something that I've always wanted to do. We're talking about competition today. I think it's very suiting that we're talking about competition because obviously the last big competition that I had joined was Miss Hong Kong 2017, and I was fortunate enough to win. I then moved back to Canada, and now I'm doing a talent development coach. And what that is coaching new talents who want to get into the commercial modeling, pageant industry, anything like that. I'm trying to guide people to make sure that they don't get scammed. The ins and outs, all the little things that you want to know of how to get into the industry, but also the type of mentality you want to be in and have when you are getting into this type of industry, because obviously it can be very shallow. There's a lot of rejection, and part of that is talking about self, growth, confidence. And that's what I do now. I'm very happy over here. I try to go back to Hong Kong as often as I can.
Just to share with our audience and our friends, in the beginning, when I contact Juliet, I said, look, we have to do that. We have to share our stuff. We have to talk about coaching. Why you choose competition?
First of all, competition, we both have in common because we're both competitive volleyball players, especially you're professional. So I think competition is life. It is something that we are also familiar with. We were born in it. It's life. We are always competing, and it's not just competing in terms of your workplace or career or competing against your siblings or to be a better athlete, whatever it is. You can talk about it in that sense, but I want to talk about it also in the sense where, how do you use it to help you grow, and how do you use it to make it a tool to better your life? And I think that's something that a lot of people, they only know the surface level of competition, which is just to be better, right? Yeah. And that whole idea to be better than others can be very confusing. It can change you. It can get ugly, right? It can get ugly. So that's why competition is very important to talk about, because we need to be competitive in the sense where we have good intentions. So yeah.
I mean, competition, it's really, I love this subject because we are born with competition. It's not a choice in a sense. It's like they don't ask us if we want to compete or not. Since we are born in the kindergarten, in the school, we are in the game, and it's not a choice. And how we should compete? What is the positive point from competition? Let's start with that.
Everybody knows, you just have to be better. You just have to train. You just have to spend so much practice. You got to be disciplined. There's so many things that we are trained and conditioned to do better than others. And that's what competing is, right? In the broad sense of the word, how to compete, I think we know that answer. It's just to get higher education, get more training, and get the best coaches and all that kind of stuff. But how to compete in the best way. And there's so many factors you got to think about. You got to think about why you're competing. You got to think about how to compete in the sense where you remain yourself and you stay true to who you are, So those two things are very important. For example, when I mentioned getting lost in their way, I've competed obviously in more of a, I guess you can say, shallower industry, where the more you look Asian beauty, the more better your chances are, or the more you have you're a fan favorite, you have more following, you have more, the better that you speak Chinese, people will think that you are a better candidate, and so on and so on. Because, the skinnier, the more beauty standards that you are, that matches to, wherever you're competing. So like for Asia, for myself, for example, looks is, or body type is the reason why you win. And because you're also exposed to the world, and you have the media following you and writing all this stuff about you, competing, you get lost in your way because you end up competing for others, and you end up competing against yourself because you have so much expectations. You expect to do well, you expect to win for your family. You already told all your friends, or even if you didn't tell your friends, you're on the news. And I think that caused a lot of stress for a lot of my my girlfriends, and I feel sorry for the girls, because they put so much pressure and they're not enjoying themselves, and then they lose themselves. They end up being a slave to others' expectations, because you end up being so obsessed with competing for others and against yourself, and because you have all this expectation, then that is where it's dangerous. You end up competing, like you've mentioned in our previous conversations, becoming a slave to success. And I think that is where the dangers of being too competitive, or at least looking at a competition with that sense, with the expectation that you're going to win. And for myself, in my case, I went into this competition not expecting anything. I truly didn't. It was my dad that told me to apply, that nominated me. I went in going like, I just want to have a great time, because I didn't really want to stay there for a whole year. Once I found out that was the case, that if you win, you have to stay, I wasn't sure I wanted to win. So I didn't expect anything from myself. I just did the best that I could. And, I ended up winning, which I'm very grateful for.
How we can compete and without having that frustration? Because competition, we enter to that game, and there is a ranking. Competition is to be superior. It's
number one.
To be number one. It's
Yes.
to beat the other one. And we see it a lot in sport. When we are under stress and we are playing against another team, we push hard to motivate ourselves, like, let's go, let's kill them, let's, know. And as you said, thinking too much about the result and being number one can cause a lot of frustration. So how we can compete in being ourselves?
That's a very good question. At the end of the day, this is what I said to the girls during the competition, or to my clients. I love to emphasize that when you are going into this competition, you're going in it for you, not against you. You are your hardest critic, right? We are all our own hardest critic.
Yeah.
And don't be a critic. Just go in and do your best, and with the intention that you are going to learn and have a great experience. Don't go in thinking you're going to win. I mean, see, here's the difference, right? When you're going in for volleyball, or if you're a UFC fighter and there's like win or lose, volleyball, you either get points or you don't get points. You're either the winning team or the losing team. And the thing is, yes, that's really important, especially when you're on a very high professional competitive level, to have the mentality that you want to win and you want to like crush people and everything. And that is okay in the sense when you are talking about the game, when you are talking about yourself, your performance during the game, and how do I apply that with my talent development clients is I always say, like, when you're walking out on the stage, who are you walking out for? Are you walking out for the audience? Yes, of course you are. Are you walking out for the camera? Yes, of course you are. You're walking for everything and all the above, but you are mainly walking for yourself. You got here this far, or you are auditioning for it, you're getting into it, or why do you even compete in the first place, right? You compete because you want to learn or experience something that is like awesome. Whatever your reason is, you have to remember that you're here for the game, for your love of volleyball, for your love of combat, for your love of beauty pageants, or you're here just to learn, right? And those are the reasons that really do make you happy, because cancel out all the audience, cancel out all the referees, and cancel even your teammates out. What do you end up with? A ball, right? With the punching bag or whatever it is. You end up with, for the girls, you end up with yourself. You're looking into the mirror. Who do you end up with? You see yourself. So you're doing it for yourself and not against, and not for other reasons, but the main reason is to remember that the happiness comes from you, right? And from the game, and not from all the extended rewards, right? And that really does make a change in terms of how your headspace, how you start to get into the game, because preparing to go out in the tournament or preparing to perform for an audience, it's a lot. So you gotta get into that headspace, into the right mentality for you to able to compete, being yourself, being happy and doing what you love to do, but also being like, I am gonna be the best, and I am gonna show the best version of myself, for others.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important to know for anyone, whether it's in the workplace. Why are you at work? If you love the job, then you're going to work for the work, and you're not going to work because of the money. The key thing is to remember why you're competing in the first place.
Yeah. In my example, I'm coaching corporates. Okay, so even corporate, they are in competition every day. Being in competition, to succeed and to reach excellence, we need to be ourselves. Because okay, I need to progress every day. I need to enhance my skills. You need to know yourself. You need to focus in your strength, in your weakness. You need to respect yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to forgive yourself. So the big relation is with yourself. Competition, it will change the focus outside. Okay, I'm running against this guy, so where he is, I'm first, I'm second. So
you're worrying about others, right?
Yes.
And that's the easy like rabbit hole that you fall into when you are worrying about others. And that's why you have to, in competition, when they say focus, you're not focusing on others. They're literally telling you to focus on yourself. But when you focus on yourself, you got to go in that focus, knowing that you are doing it for you and not for others, right? By having good sportsmanship. People will respect you if you can win, or if you can compete on a high level by staying true to yourself, right? During the competition, there were girls that have lost themselves doing things that pleased what Hong Kong's beauty standard / expectation was, in order to win, or in order to be better, right? To be better because what they tell us to, and I think that's really important to remember, is to not fall into that rabbit hole of pleasing other people. And I think there's nobody else other than the ball, the cage, whatever industry that you're in the workplace especially. There is so many things that define competition: your pay, your position, the level of hierarchy, so much.
Yeah. So I wanted to share the purpose, or the big objective that the coach have, is how to put competition through players, right? So in volleyball, there is always a teammate, and we practice the same way, and we are competing, and only one will play in the end in the court, right? So there is that competition between us. And for
Yeah.
the coach, the main problem is how to switch that competition against each other, then we compete with each other against other team.
If you go into competition with the right mentality, you can make the experience so much better. You know, a lot of the times, yeah, you're going in this competition and you are competing for yourself. You are going in there alone. But when you are doing it like a team sport, or when you are doing it like against, even with the top 10 girls, for example, of Miss Hong Kong, you're doing it with the girls. You are competing with the girls and against the girls. And same with you for volleyball, you're competing with your teammates and against your teammates, because obviously there's first line, second line, the bench warmers, all that kind of stuff, you know? So during the competition I wanted the girls to have a great experience too, because why? Because we're all in this together. And we are all in the same year. We are all we have all become sisters. So I want this to actually be a friendship as well as like life experience that you experience with these girls. So you're trying to have a good time. So when they're having a bad time, you're trying to help them in the ways that they can't help themselves. You know, a lot of times I was like the go-to person for the dance, because I know how to dance, or like, oh, how are you so confident? You know, the girls are always like, how do you walk like that and stuff? And I'm more than happy to share. Why? Because I want to have these experiences with you. I want to be happy with you. It's not pleasant when you're just keeping everything to yourself. You know, it's not pleasant that when you go and win number one and you don't have any friends, it's a lonely road. And it's the same thing with once you win, like as a UFC fighter, for example, you just keep having to fight stronger and stronger and stronger people, right? And if you're doing it for the fact that you are just doing it for yourself and for the money and for the rewards, it's going to be a lonely road. But if you're fighting against strong people and stronger people, and every time you do succeed on beating them, but you have good sportsmanship and you're making that experience and you share, because both of you guys share the love for fighting or combat, then that experience is a lot, you know, it's a lot nicer. It's a lot happier. I find that my experience in Miss Hong Kong and Miss Chinese International was amazing. I was sharing with the girls, you know, my experiences, what I go through and all that kind of stuff. They knew my weaknesses, they knew my strengths, but we were there for each other. And when you're competing, try to just throw that concept out the window. At the end of the day, yes, it's a competition, but it's a competition to grow for a better self. It is opportunity for you to learn as a person, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah.
Enjoying the path, it's our target.
Yes.
Not the finality, or not the if I win or I lose. So if we look at it differently, when we enjoy the path, then we have much more chances to win if we are enjoying the path, right?
And less stress, right? Less stress for yourself, less stress for other people, whoever you're trying to please. You know, when you're enjoying your time competing, you're forgetting about the competition and you just do what you do best, right? And then you're able to actually let your mind focus on the skill that you need to be performing. So whether it is being on stage, you allow your mind to focus on the game itself, you know, how to strategically place a tip, place a ball, hit, you know, you're thinking about that kind of stuff, not thinking about crushing others or thinking about the rewards. You're thinking about the game and you're thinking about the performance. And I think that it does make not only your experience a lot happier, it makes you honest and remain yourself, but it also because you can focus. You don't have to think about that competition expectation, you know.
Yeah.
Competition comes along with expectation, and I think that at the end of the day, girls it's very hard to not compare, right? It's very hard because life is all about comparing, right? And now we live in a life where we're trying to be fair. You know, we're fighting for all these equalities. We're fighting for Black Lives Matter. We're fighting for against extradition bills. We're fighting for so many things. So can equality and competition coexist? That is something that is such a hard question. And there's always a yes answer and a no answer, you know, competition and equality, because they are both such polar opposites of each other. Their very definition is the opposite. Competition is life. So can that coexist? What do you think?
Yeah. Why we ask this question, I think, because we are talking about the good side of competition and the negative side. The good side, which is I'm competing to enhance my competence. I'm here to progress every day. I'm here to focus in myself, to love myself, to respect myself. Then I can push my limits every day a bit more. And all that why? Because I want to be happy, because I want to look to myself the best way, because I want to identify myself. And the negative side about competition, which is competing against each other, which is superiority, inferiority, ranking. I'm first, I'm last, I'm second, what they are doing, and then we will be in conflict. And it's the heart of inequality, right? Because if I am superior, there is one guy who is inferior. If I am first, or I gain something, and I feel that I'm superior than the other human being like me, then it's a problem, because we are not superior, right? So how to find that balance? How to find that similarities? We are all human beings in the end. Let's be together to help each other to progress, to push our limit as a human being. We don't need to be in conflict to progress, right?
Yeah, like you're right. That's what makes things a competition, because if I am taller than another girl, or she is thinner than me, and then you start thinking that's the competition. Previously, when we were talking about being real, once you start thinking and wishing that you look more like that person, you lose yourself. You don't become you anymore. Now, in life, it is not fair. We are not all born with perfect skin, perfect height, perfect lips or eyes. You know, if you're lucky enough, you know, you're blessed, and you should use it for good, and use it with good sportsmanship, with the honest intention that you are here to learn and be better. Because at the end of the day, we are competing together, whether we are in the same background, coming from the same, looking the same or not the same, we are competing together. And now, how do we make that fair? You know, let's just assume that pageants, we like tall people. So tall person is competition, shorter person is equality, but she's at a disadvantage, but she's fighting for the equality. Now, the equality part is that you guys are in the same competition. At the end of the day, you guys are in the same pool. You know what I mean? Yeah, so you're in the same pool, but the competition is where one is shorter and the other one's taller, right? And how do you compete in a fair game when one is taller and the other one's shorter? So like for volleyball, it's the same thing. You know, you're in the silver pool, you're in the gold pool, you're in a professional level, you're in a recreational level, whatever it is, at the end of the day, you're in the same pool. Now, to compete equally, you got to do it in a way where you are yourself. You're doing it with your skills, with the training that you've had, with the training that they've had, and you're both there for the competition. So when I say get ready and go, you guys are running. And when you guys are running, you guys are just doing the running. You guys aren't thinking about if she's shorter than me or taller than me. You guys should be focusing on the running, right? And then when you're focusing on the running, you're focusing on yourself and the skills. And that is when you do it because you love the game. You remember it because you love the game. And that's how you can compete with good sportsmanship. And that's how you can compete equally in that sense for your happiness and to remain you. And that's how you can compete equally.
Competing equally. I love the example of tall in short, because I believe that there is a place for everybody. Okay?
Yes.
Like, for example, I'm short and I compete in a negative way. So I will focus, yeah, he's taller than me, he have much more chances than me. It will limit me in my competition, in my progress, so instead of focusing or comparing or competing against other, if we compete and focus with each other, and we focus internally how to enhance our competence, then we can reach. I think the major problem is we put like, this is the model, okay?
Yeah.
This is the one. It needs to be.
This is the way.
This is the way. I believe there is not only one way. Everyone should try to find his way. The way is individual way. So when we switch and we think that everyone he have his way, I will not think that I'm superior, right? I love other people and I respect other people and I will learn from them, right? Not because I'm really superior, I'm stronger, and you should learn from me. Hey, man, that will limit you.
Yeah. Now, in life, right? Now we're talking about life. What makes you eligible to participate in this competition? Being born, just being you, being present as a human being. Yeah, being present as a human being gives you already a chance to be eligible, because like you said, there's a place for everyone. There's a role for everyone to play, right? Now you have the world, the life that is handed to you, which is competition. That is where the start line is, right? At the end of the day is to be happy.
Yes.
So if you want to be here, then what makes you happy? So compete and go and find that thing that makes you happy and compete in that.
And you will find it in you.
Yes.
Not outside.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. You cannot find it outside. You know, you can go outside and find inspiration. If you like what you see, admire, share the positivity. To share that really does change the journey of the competition. Your journey is so much more happier, much more positive. And I think that's something that people should remember to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And even to get inspiration, we need to love each other, not be against each other. If then I allow myself to be open, to take from you, from the other one, from everyone. Everyone it has a skill. Everyone it has something that I can learn from it, and I get inspiration from others. But if I compete the wrong way and against each other, I will limit myself. I cannot take from others. Or even if I take from others, I will copy.
If you're not competing in an honest way, people will catch on to you. And the worst thing is for people not to want to compete with you. To not want to compete with you, to me, means I don't want to have you in my life. And that's just sad, because at the end of the day, no matter how much trophies you win, being alone is no fun. So
nobody can be alone. I fully agree.
I think that
Thank you, Juliet. Thank you. Here. It was, as always, nice to talk with you, and I promise everyone that we will have Juliet to discuss other topic, I hope.
Thank you for having me. It was so awesome being here, and I hope that you guys enjoy. If you guys have any questions, I'm sure we'll discuss it and address it, but whatever it is, wherever you go, compete with good sportsmanship. I think that is the best advice I can give. Compete with good sportsmanship and do it for yourself and make yourself happy. At the end of the day, that's what's important, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Juliet. Thank you.
Thank you.